to Pierce the Canvas podcast, where today we will be reviewing the very first Rampage show, the very first AEW Rampage show. This is AEW's third hour of television, first official hour that we've been waiting for the last 2 years. I believe when AEW first started, it was announced that there would be a third hour added. So finally, here we are, over 2 years later, we finally got it. Obviously, the pandemic threw it off and everything else. But we finally are here with our third hour of AEW television, and I'm pretty excited for the weeks to come. Today's first show was pretty good. It wasn't I wouldn't say it was the most amazing like AEW show I've ever seen, but we got some quality matches. We got some great moments. Everything was quick though, right? Like bang bang bang, because it's an hour long, and they're trying to fit a lot into an hour, right? I'm getting the feeling that this is going to be a very wrestling predominant show, in the sense that there's not going to be a lot of promo segments on Rampage. There's not going to be a lot of backstage segments. We had a couple here and there, but they're really quick. So it's mostly an in-ring show. The impression I'm getting so far. And today definitely delivered as far as the matches advertised here. The two main matches being Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage for the Impact World Title, as well as Britt Baker versus Red Velvet for the Women's World Title. And so the show kicked off with the former here. We got Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega for the Impact World Championship. And the crowd was hot like all night, and it was a packed house. It's really amazing that they're able to pack a house like that for a 1 hour show. Like, I don't think in the history of NXT have they ever even had a building like this other than takeovers, but for just a regular episode, I don't think they've ever had this many people, let alone what it's going to be like next week, right? Because next week is supposed to be the debut of CM Punk and all that. It's in the United Center. It's going to be a grand old show. So I'm guessing that this is going to be really popular and that they're going to be packing these houses every week. So again, the show started off immediately with Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega for the Impact World Title, the Impact and TNA World Titles, I guess, because they're still both belts. And Kenny entered with all of his gold. He came out with the AEW, Impact, TNA, and AAA World Titles. And as I said, the crowd was just super hot throughout this whole show. So match starts, and into it, first thing that stood out to me is Christian was like about to do Kenny Omega's like taunt, but then flips him off. Kind of laughed at that. A couple minutes into the match, he heads up top, and Kenny pushes him down, falls down to the floor, and they went to commercial. There is a lot of commercial breaks here on this show, because I guess it's an hour long, and it's AEW. They're able to generate a lot of revenue through advertising. So in a 1 hour show, we're gonna get a lot of ads, right? And this show definitely had it. So Christian's dominating at first and is able to land his middle rope, like spinning elbow move that he does. Kenny lands a U-can escape for a near fall. Christian lands the education, the reverse DDT that Edge does, for a near fall. At least I think Edge does that, and I'm pretty sure that's the education or something like that. Execution. Kenny's able to land V-trigger, lands a power bomb, followed by another V-trigger. That leads to a near fall. Kenny misses a V-trigger at one point, and Christian lands a spear. That leads to a near fall, and the crowd is super hot at this point, super into the match. And so Kenny's able to land a couple Snapdragons. Christian comes back and lands a frog splash for a near fall. Don Callis is distracting at one point, and Omega hits a low blow. So this is the end of the match here. It was pretty quick. It was really like 10, maybe 15 minutes long, if even that. Young Bucks come out, handing Omega a chair. Kenny opens up the chair, sets it down for a one-winged angel, but Christian reverses to a kill switch, lands it, and he wins. He beat Kenny Omega just like that, in somewhat quick fashion for the Impact World Championship. So Christian is now officially the Impact and TNA World Champion. He is now basically a member of the TNA, or I guess Impact roster. So we're going to be seeing him on those shows a lot more often, I'm guessing here. And then after the match, Jurassic Express came out after Christian won for the celebration. They head to the back and get an interview with Mark Henry, who is a backstage interviewer, which is pretty off-putting. I've never even imagined doing anything like that. Not even commentating. And about the commentating, we got that 4-man booth this week. I think that's exclusive to this week only. I don't think that it's permanent. but Mark Henry is a permanent member of the announce team. And so he interviews Christian and Jurassic Express, who are celebrating with champagne. Says he got the AEW World Championship match coming as well, so Mark Henry asks him about that. Christian vowed to take the world titles from Omega, says it was hard beating him for the Impact title. Well, it didn't seem that hard, but it'll be even harder to take the AEW title. So they're still going on that match is going to happen. I still stand by it that I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's some sort of angle they're going to shoot. They're going to slither their way out of this thing, and we're going to get a much bigger marquee match, I think, for the main event of All Out. So we hear from Fuego and Miro. I actually thought this match was going to be on Dynamite, but no, it was tonight. We actually got the contract match between Fuego and Miro tonight here on Rampage. So we hear from both of them before the match, and Fuego's just talking about how big a dream this is for him to potentially get signed to an AEW contract. Miro basically just says that he's not going to win. And so the match starts, and Fuego right off the bat lands tornado DDTs, which, like, if you kept up with the Samu Guevara vlog, the whole story of the vlog is that Fuego del Sol could never land a tornado DDT. He just can't ever do it. And boom, he just lands it right at the beginning of this match. So that whole story is done now. He's also able to land a mid-rope spike DDT. Miro rolls out of the ring and makes it back in before 10. They're really teasing that Fuego could win by the 10 count, and he would still be offered the contract. As soon as Miro gets in the ring, he lands another tornado DDT for a near fall. So this guy, and he's good at it. He's really got the tornado DDT thing down. Miro lands his thrust kick and locks in the game over camel clutch, ripping this guy in half for the win. And, you know, obviously this is supposed to mean that he's not going to be offered a contract, right? Because he lost the match. But what are stipulations in 2021, right? So Miro takes the contract after the match and just rips it in half. And I think they actually went to commercial after that. And so they just had Fuego standing around in the ring during commercial, recovering from the match. After commercial, Fuego's officially recovered, and Samu Guevara's music comes on. And out he comes with Tony Khan. And Sammy says that sometimes there's victory and defeat. Tony Khan has a clipboard with a paper on it, so you can probably guess what that is. And Sammy says that Fuego's been around for like the last year. He's been in the back with everybody during Dynamite every week. Says the people love him. Says everyone in the back loves him, and the people do love him. He was really over during this match. Like, throughout the whole thing, the crowd was really behind him. Throughout this whole show, the crowd was just fantastic. Says that Tony thought it was right that since he and Sammy are best friends, Fuego and Sammy, it's officially time to sign Fuego del Sol to a contract. Which is like, isn't that what that match was supposed to be for? But he lost. But, you know, wrestling stipulations just don't matter anymore, so who cares? Fuego's all elite. It was a really nice moment. I really liked that because I'm a fan of Fuego from the Sammy vlog, so I was really excited to see Fuego del Sol actually offered a contract here. And so he's signed and he's all elite. So congratulations to Fuego del Sol. He deserves it. Even though he lost the match. And so, next thing we see here is we go back to Darby from all those weeks ago when he said that he hears a lot of people claim they're the greatest and he wants to face whoever might think they're the best in the world, or whatever he said. And then they pretty much just hyped up next week's Rampage, saying it's like the largest AEW show, which it might be, because this is a serious arena that they're going to be in. And so they basically tease the CM Punk arrival for next week, which I hope happens. Oh, the disaster that will take place if not. And I'll be here to review that. So Mark Henry is carrying on with his backstage interviewer role here, and he's talking to Britt Baker and Red Velvet. So they're all on like separate screens basically, and it was pre-edited. You could tell there's like a few awkward jumps I noticed. So Mark Henry says that Red Velvet rained on Baker's parade this past Wednesday. Velvet says that she did it because she was previously attacked with a crutch by, was it Rebel or maybe it was Britt? Says Wednesday was a preview of what she's going to do tonight. Mark says that Red Velvet ruined Britt Baker's celebration this past Wednesday. Britt denies it, says that she didn't ruin anything. She says, "This is still my night, my main event, my people, my city," and it's true. Says she'll walk out with a broken freaking wrist with the AEW Women's title because her wrist is broken. That is real stuff. She's actually wrestling through a probably minor, but still an injury nonetheless. And so here we are to the main event. This is like my fastest review of all time because it's an hour-long show, right? So of course Red Velvet comes out and she's just getting showered with booze by this crowd. They are all behind Baker. Baker comes out. They all go absolutely crazy for her. And into the match here, Velvet is targeting Britt Baker's injured arm, lands a dropkick and a standing moonsault for a 2 count. Velvet does an arm code breaker. I don't know what else to call it, but she literally did like a code breaker to Britt's hurt arm. Britt attempted a lockjaw. Velvet escaped, locked in a wrist lock, and was even ripping off Britt Baker's cast. She had like a cast on and like a glove underneath the cast. Velvet just took all of that off and starts damaging her arm. Rebel goes for the distraction but gets ejected. Velvet lands a super kick, heads up top, lands a moonsault for a near fall. And that was a pretty close near fall there, but at no point was I convinced that Britt Baker was going to lose this match. Britt lands a suplex to Red Velvet, like the suplex where they like land them on their knee. I think Adam Cole does that move. Lands a curb stomp as well for a near fall. So the women are exchanging shots at this point in the match, and Velvet tries to lock in her own lockjaw, but Britt reverses it into her own lockjaw. Velvet escapes, but not for long, as Baker is able to officially lock it in, and Red Velvet taps out for the win. And so there you have it. The hometown talent here in Britt Baker retains the AEW Women's World Championship, as we all expected. What I wasn't so much expecting was what happened after. I was really predicting that Ruby Riott from WWE, Ruby Soho is her name now. I thought for sure she was going to debut tonight. I was like, tonight's the night it's going to happen. Because, you know, it's the first episode of Rampage. Something huge should take place, right? So the the match is over and Baker's not finished. So she is still heel, actually. I thought that she was basically going to be a babyface throughout this whole Pittsburgh thing. No, she was definitely a heel still, like especially after the match. She picks back up Red Velvet and lands basically like her swinging neckbreaker move on her, takes her out. Chris Statlander actually runs into the ring to take out Baker. And then somebody, I guess, was she in like a hoodie? She was in some sort of get up to hide her face, but some random woman comes into the ring and attacks Statlander as well as Red Velvet and reveals herself to be Jamie Hayter. I have zero memory of who this person is. She apparently was in AEW at first, like during the first few months, and had 2 matches. I have absolutely no memory of this woman at all from any promotion. I don't remember her. So it kind of even feels like Ruby Soho was supposed to debut tonight, but maybe she couldn't make it or something, so they were like, we gotta get somebody out there. So they got this Jamie Hayter lady who, I don't know, maybe one of y'all watching recognize who that is. I absolutely did not. But anyway, she came out and attacked the babyfaces with Britt Baker. Baker curb stomped Velvet onto the title. And that is how we went off the air. That was the show. And now that I come to think of it, I think Baker mentioned, I think she did, yeah, I think she mentioned a week or 2 ago that she was going to be bringing somebody in to help her out. Because she was like, Rebel's going through an injury. She can't take care of all the stuff. And so she was like, I'm going to bring somebody in, and I guess this is who it is then. So it's Jamie Hayter. Which is cool, you know, like, even though I don't know her, it doesn't mean she can't eventually grow on me and really impress me, but I was just sad that I didn't see Ruby Riott. It'll be great if she shows up within the next few weeks. I hope by, like, All Out or something. But yeah, so that was the show. It was a good show. It was a little just too quick, just too bang, 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 you know? Like, who really knew how to run these hour-long shows was NXT back before the USA Network days. They were really good at pacing an hour-long show. And again, this is the first episode. This is Tony Khan's first try at an hour-long television show, right? So I'm sure week after week they're going to settle into their groove. and things will get smoothened out. And I think it'll be a fantastic show. Going forward, week by week, I think it'll get better and better, especially next week if CM Punk debuts. But that was the very first episode of AEW Rampage. I thought it was pretty good. We have Christian Cage as the new Impact champion, so we'll see how this impacts, no pun, well, I guess pun intended, the upcoming AEW World Title match at All Out. I still really hope that we get a bigger match than Christian versus Kenny Omega. We will see, and I'll be back for this coming Wednesday for a Dynamite review. Hope you join me there, as well as I hope you like and subscribe to the video, as well as, or subscribe to the channel, as well as, again, joining me next week. Thank you so much for coming to me for your Rampage coverage here. This was Pierce with Pierce the Canvas Podcast. Take care, y'all.